And joining us right now on the Roth and Orthopedics guest line from Inside the Birds podcast that he does with his friend Jeff Mosher, and friend of the show as well, the great Adam Caplan joins the show. What's going on there, Adam?
Mark, good to be with you. Yeah, there's a lot going on around the National Football League and fantasy football, which we'll get to, and good to be with you.
Oh, no, I want to start off with the fantasy because this is something I didn't even hear of until our mutual friend, the man that runs your podcast, man that runs my web show as well, Josh Weinfeld, told me about this incredible fantasy league that you're a part of here. Hall of Fame Fantasy League? What is this here, man? It sounds fascinating.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So it's a 10-team league of so-called fantasy experts or guys who have been in and out of the fantasy business like myself. I started in the fantasy business, Mark, in the mid-'90s. I left it in the early to mid-2000s to become a reporter, but I've always had one hand in it, and I've been a co-host on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. My friends and I started that show on NFL Radio in 2004. We're now in our 18th year, so I'm still involved in it.
I'm sorry, who'd you start with? You cut out for 1 second.
John Hansen of FantasyPoints.com. We've been doing this show forever, and John has a team for his Fantasy Points company. I have one for myself, and Andrew DeCecco will be my partner for this draft, who writes for us on Inside the Birds, and has been a contributor since we started the company back in 2018. So we're glad to have him along, and it's really cool. You can actually back the team, you can invest in the team, which is really cool. So go to their website and check it out, and it's a really cool concept, which I really think is interesting.
Now, yeah, so the concept is that these are run by, like yourself, professionals, some ex-athletes. They're actually running the fantasy league, which is unique about this.
Exactly. And when you look at it, right, the guys are in this no fantasy. Like, I played, goodness gracious, for years. And the guys are in it are really, really good. There's no question about it. You can follow them on Twitter, by the way, at the HOF League, at the HOF League. And if you follow it, the draft is actually Sunday. You could watch it live. It'll be on just about every platform, Facebook, Twitter. You could get a stake in the team, as I was talking about. I am the owner of the team. Andrew's helped me out for this draft. We've got Jason Avant, who's our captain, the great Jason Avant, who's a host of ours on Inside the Birds. We love having Jason. Along with us. So it's cool because it's a 10-team league. 10-team leagues, your teams are going to be stacked. But there's so many good teams in here. There's so many really good guys who know what they're doing. Friends of mine in the fantasy business are in it, so it's going to be very cool.
Yeah, and people can download the app. You could stake a team. You could participate in the community. You can win prizes as well. So make sure people do that to participate in the Hall of Fame Fantasy League. It does sound fascinating, my man. I know a lot of people were fascinated with the way at least Jalen Hurts started out the preseason tonight, playing not one, Adam Caplan, but 2 series for the Eagles tonight. What'd you make of the early goings of the preseason for Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, look, he was good. And don't forget, there were 2 drops. So he was 3-7, 54 yards. The pass to Goddard was phenomenal, a 34-yard pass. I mean, that was a great pass, good run after the catch by Goddard. So they got off to a good start there. And then Joe Flacco comes in and throws a slot screen to Quez Watkins. He runs 79 yards downfield. And Watkins, as you know, Mark, has had a really good training camp. So he's helping to solidify the 5th receiver job and, quite frankly, one of the top outside jobs, because Greg Ward is their 3rd receiver technically, but he's not a downfield threat at all, as we know. So it's look, Watkins might – I'm not saying he's gonna play over Jalen Reagor, but Quez Watkins has outperformed Jalen Reagor in training camp. That's just a fact.
Hey, if it's all about competition, according to Nick Sirianni, ugly Kez, as Darius Slay called him, is certainly that competition. Speaking of Nick Sirianni, though, I know it's one of those things, and I hate to play the what-if game, but if Nick Sirianni, if his offense was slow, if they took delay of games, if they took a lot of penalties early on, we'd be killing him for it today. Very clean for a first-time head coach and first-time play caller in the NFL, I thought.
Yeah, look, no doubt about it. Miles Sanders didn't play, didn't dress, which I don't quite understand why, considering he played a lot of his starters in this game on offense. The guys were healthy enough to play. Why not play Sanders? But Look, I always said if you're going to rest starters and go rest your starters, if you're going to play them, then play them. So Jordan Howard got in there. Kenny Gainwell had a lot of work. Kerryon Johnson got some work. Boston Scott got some work. So they really executed pretty well in the first half.
Mm-hmm. Anything else jump out to you from this game that maybe surprised you or something that was at least pleasant to see?
Yeah, the defense. Look, the defense did very well in the first half. I understand Ben Roethlisberger did not play. I get that. But Alex Singleton was back off the COVID list. He got a lot of action. He had 7 combined tackles in the first half, so that was good to see. T.J. Edwards was very active. He's had a very good training camp. So, look, everything's pretty positive. I don't think there's any really true negatives right now. And this is good because they had a lot of guys who could not play in this game due to injury, some key players. So they had a really good first half, and that's pretty important to carry some momentum going forward here.
Away from this game, obviously there's still a lot of talk about whether or not Jalen Hurts is going to be the starter going forward, if they're going to make a trade for, say, Deshaun Watson. Where we are at right now, and Adam Caplan of Inside the Birds podcast, I'm asking everyone this question. Who will start more games for the Eagles this year? Jalen Hurts, Joe Flacco, or Deshaun Watson?
It'll be Jalen Hurts will start the most games. Yeah, I would say that.
Okay.
The Watson thing, Mark, is just that rumor that came out, I don't know, a week and a half ago was nothing. It didn't mean anything. Nothing has changed. The Eagles have had interest. They've dug into it. They've looked into it as the Panthers have from afar. The Panthers are an extreme long shot. The Dolphins have had some passing interest. So look, their teams would have been lined up right outside the door there in Houston. But with these legal issues, it's not anything that's going to move right now.
Okay. All right. I'm happy to hear that. I didn't want to pay what would have been a king's ransom to get Deshaun Watson here. I'd rather, as I've said a million times already, my audience is probably sick of me hearing it, just stick with Hurts, give him the year, see how he does. And if not, hey, with Carson Wentz probably still starting the year for the Indianapolis Colts, you still might get that third first-round pick in the upcoming draft. Adam, I got to ask you this, man, because as a fantasy guy, you've been playing fantasy a lot longer than I have. Has this ever happened to you? Has Adam Caplan, the great Adam Caplan, has he ever made a pick in any fantasy league and all your buddies or colleagues yell, "Taken"? Has it ever happened to you?
Oh, yeah. You know what? We've all done that. It's embarrassing. You mean taken? Yeah, taken.
Take in. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I but it's so funny you mention this because I despise it when people do that. I've done it once or twice in 30 years of playing this thing, fantasy football, but it's ridiculous because what I use an Excel file and I just darken the name. Once you've taken the player off your board, you bold it. That way you leave the guys who are not bold or available. I don't see how that happens. It's funny you mentioned that. It does happen. Now, it typically happens, though, in live in-person drafts.
Yeah.
Which, unfortunately, we don't have much anymore. Most drafts are done on the internet. I haven't drafted in person. I don't know how many years. I miss it, those live in-person drafts.
Do you remember your first ever fantasy football selection?
I could tell you the year. It would have been 1990. And it was a league, Mark, where it was a bunch of friends at work. We worked in the King of Prussia Mall, okay? I was in my mid-20s, and it was actually a league with defensive players in it, believe it or not. And the funny thing is about that one, I learned Deion Sanders is a great football player, but bad at fantasy if you're going to draft him because nobody throws at him. It was all about tackles. Nobody would throw at him. So he wasn't very good.
Gotcha. My cousin Greg, who always loves to remind me of this, Greg Oates, what's going on? My cousin Greg always likes to tell me that his first fantasy pick ever was Chris Collinsworth.
Real? Oh my God, that would have been in the late '80s before he retired. Really? Wow.
Yeah. That's when he got started. And when I started working for Sunday Night Football and was literally running a machine for Collinsworth, my cousin told me that right away. And I had no idea that was the case, man. Too funny. Well, hey, look, it seems like an incredible fantasy football league. I can't wait to follow all this stuff. I know you're going to be on it. You're going to be doing it with Jason Devon and all you guys there. Oh, do you have a team name? I wanted to ask you that. Do you have a team name?
Yeah, the Philadelphia Powder Kegs. The hat and the shirt I got in the mail. The hat is awesome. I love the logo. The draft, by the way, is 5 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. You could download. They have an app. Again, follow them on social media. pretty much any way you want, and it's the Hall of Fame League. And Terrell Davis, the Hall of Famer, by the way, is our first commissioner. And they're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you name it, they're on it. They have a podcast, which I'll be on during the season. And you can get stake in my team. Our team's going to be really good, I promise you that. It's only a 10-teamer, so most leagues, as you know, Mark, are 12 or 14, typically 12. Not many are 10, so there's no excuse for not having a great team. And DeCecco and I will do a great job. Trust me on that.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt it even a little bit. Adam Caplan, last thing for you. I want to end it on the Eagles. Zach Ertz is still here in Philadelphia. What's the feeling about him being moved? Do you still think he'll play the season here? What do you think happens?
Same as the last time we talked. I told you the Eagles had no leverage right now. Then, whenever we were on together last, might have been in June. Once you got past the draft, teams already fill that tight end position. That what they need, what they would need is exactly what I said before. They would need a team to lose a pass catching tight end for him to have enough value for that team to trade for him. And then you've got to get through the $8.5 million salary, which he has this season. So it's not going to be easy. The time to trade him was the draft. The Eagles tried. He was available. They had talks with teams. They could not get anything they were willing to accept. And he's still an Eagle. But as I've told people, let's wait till August 31st when we get to what we call the fluid 53. That's the initial cut down to 53. And our first cut down is next week. We get down from 90 to 85, and then we have another cut down on the 24th, and the big one on August 31st.
Easy enough. Adam Caplan, Inside the Birds podcast. Thanks so much for joining us. Also, make sure you guys check out the Hall of Fame Fantasy League as well. Adam, thanks so much, brother.
Thank you.